So I will open the meeting, Board of Assessors, on date December 3rd, 2020. Time of meeting is 9 a.m. It's 9:01, I guess now, via video conferencing. At this time, I ask anybody to disclose if they are videotaping the meeting.
I also just want to let everybody know that Sandra is here with me. My desk is kind of jammed, so I can only get a piece of her, but she's sitting here with me.
Great. Welcome, Sandra. Let's do a roll call. Chair Joseph Regari is here. Chief Assessor Kimberly Mew.
Here.
Here. Administrative Clerk Sandra Godoya.
Here. I'm just going to go.
And Board Person D. Letourneau. Here.
Yes, I'm just going to go get my pad of paper. I'll be right back.
Yep, welcome. Okay, I will read the meeting minutes from the November 19th meeting.
Joe, just before you start, there is a section at the very, very, very bottom that didn't mean to get stuck on there. It's also attached to, I think, your email that we had sent with all the other docs. So you don't have to read the whole backside. That wasn't supposed to be on the agenda.
Good. Okay, yeah. Yep. Okay, good. I'll end it where it says respectfully submitted. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, on November 19th, 2020, the City of Greenfield Assessors meeting via WebEx at 9 o'clock called to order. Meeting was called to order at 9:04 by Chair Regari. Roll call of members. Chair Joseph Regari was here. Chief Assessor Kimberly Mew was here. Administrative Clerk Sandra Cordoya was here. Also guests included Virginia DeSorger, Philip Elmer, Jean Ball. Chair Regari read the November 5th, 2020 meeting minutes into record. On a motion by Regari, seconded by Mew, was unanimously voted to accept and approve the November 5th, 2020 meeting minutes. Public comment was opened by Chair Regari at 9:13 a.m. Jean Ball discussed properties and their assessed values. She would like the assessor's office to look into these properties: 53 Pleasant Street, 29 Franklin, and 369 High. Chair Regari thanked Ms. Wall and stated that the assessor's office will look into these properties. Phil Elmer made a suggestion if it was possible to do a data analysis on those values that are the most different than their neighbors and look at the abnormalities. Also, it is possible to get a list of people who deny inspections in their homes. Christine Forgy joined the meeting. Mr. Sorger discussed three properties: 155 Main, 173 Main, Argotech. Jacqueline Thibodeau joined the meeting at 9:20. Mr. Sorger mentioned a TIF on the properties previously owned by Argotech. Ms. Mew mentioned that the properties might have had another TIF agreement and she will look into this. Chair Regari suggested we put this on the agenda for the next meeting. Ms. Thibodeau discussed her own property and felt it was overassessed. She felt there was a mistake on the assessment and was wondering if she will get any money of that back. Ms. Mew explained that Jeff Reynolds went out and made changes to Ms. Thibodeau's property, and this will be discussed in executive session. Ms. Thibodeau is welcome to stay and discuss the property. Christine Forgy had no comment. Ms. Mew discussed excise weeks, new business. On a motion by Regari, seconded by Mew, it was unanimously voted to accept and approve the motor vehicle excise abatements for the calendar year 2020, November 4th, 2020 to November 16th. Ms. Mew discussed pro forma tax commitments. Ms. Mew explained that these are the properties that were bought at auction. On a motion by Regari, seconded by Mew, it was unanimously voted to approve the pro forma tax in the amount of $76.57 for FY21 on parcel 10135. Motion by Regari, seconded by Mew, unanimously voted to accept the pro forma tax in the amount of $15.56 for FY21 on parcel 517. On a motion by Regari, seconded by Mew, unanimously voted to accept and approve pro forma in the amount of $15.56 for FY21 parcel 54-7. Ms. Mew explained for parcel 54, the wrong parcel was entered, so we are asking that we abate this amount of $15.56 on the parcel. On a motion by Chair Regari, seconded by Ms. Mew, is unanimously voted to approve the abatement amount of $15.56 for FY21 on parcel 54-7. On a motion by Gary, second by Mute, it was unanimously voted to approve the pro forma in the amount of $547.41 for FY 21 on parcel 89-21. Motion by Gary, second by Mute, was voted to accept and approve pro forma tax in the amount of $778.72 for FY 21 parcel 65.3B. Motion by Gary, second by Mute, was unanimously voted to accept and approve pro forma tax in the amount of $290.41 for FY 21 parcel 1811. On a motion by Gary, seconded by Muse, unanimously voted to approve the pro forma tax in the amount of $191.25 for FY 21 parcel 58-1. Ms. Muse and Chair Gary agreed to table and review the public records policy request and wait for Clerk Letourneau. RRG office. Ms. Muse discussed the classification meeting. It went well. The help that people are offering has been great. Single tax rate has been passed unanimously. Chair Gary mentioned that we started to work on the packet for City Council in October, and we're in good shape. Have it done early with COVID. We are trying very hard to work with what we have. Ms. Mew discussed finalizing things for the state LA4 was approved. Ms. Cordoya has been working on permits, deeds, the 3 ABCs, and we're working on mailings for income and expense. Ms. Mew discussed tax files that are not matching up between Munis and Patriot. For example, properties showing up as exempt in one system, not exempt in the other. Trying to keep wheels moving between the two systems. It'd be nice to get the bills out before the holidays to give more time. Chair Gary inquired about having an update for the next meeting. Mr. Gary responded saying it was possible. Mr. Reynolds has been working with Ms. Mew side by side to help. It's been a huge help. Chair Gary inquired about John Frank's status on commercial properties. Ms. Mew mentioned that Mr. Frank has come across LUC codes that are not listed properly, and also medical offices should have specific codes. Mr. Frank is adjusting those neighborhood codes for each property. Chair Gary discussed when looking at consistencies on properties, do we take a look at what other towns, cities are doing? Ms. Mew mentioned she mails out letters to the properties that we look at. Owners have a right to say yes or no when it comes to do an inspection. Chair Gary is inquiring about legal ramifications. Ms. Mew mentioned there is no legal ramifications, but reaching out to other towns to see how they handle those properties would be possible. Ms. Mew mentioned we need to schedule an in-person meeting for statutory exemptions. We'll check in with Clerk Letourneau. Chair Gary mentioned public session is closing. Does anyone else have any comment or discussion? Mr. Desorga would like a copy of the TIF sent to Ways and Means. Chair Gary mentioned that TIFs were approved by the mayor's office and are slowly coming back to the assessor's office. Chair Gary would like list of properties who have TIFs. Ms. Forgy inquired who is on the TIF committee. Mrs. Orga was able to provide names of those individuals. On a motion by Gary, seconded by Muse, unanimously voted to close public comment at 9:59. On a motion by Gary, seconded by Muse, unanimously voted to open executive session at 10:15. The guests, Desorga, Forgy, Wall, Elmer left the meeting. Clerk Deanna Letourneau entered the meeting at 10:29. On a motion by Gary, seconded by Letourneau, unanimously voted to end executive session at 10:42. Ms. Mew read the policy for public records request for Leclerc and Letourneau and Chair Gary. The board discussed and agreed that this policy was fair and equitable. On a motion by Gary, seconded by Clerk, unanimously voted to adjourn at 10:50 a.m. That's it. Respectfully submitted. Sandra Godoya, Administrative Clerk, Board of Assessors. Okay, wow. So, after reading those meeting minutes,
Make
there
a
were
motion
some,
to accept the minutes.
there was, yeah, I'll second that discussion. There were some name mistakes and a few grammatical errors, but I don't think that's anything worthy of going into detail, in my opinion. Do you agree or disagree, Kim? Okay, good. Okay, motion on the table to approve the meeting minutes. I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, let's, I'll make a motion to open public comment.
I also just want to mention that it totally slipped my mind to send the TIFs to the Ways and Means, so I have a note right here, and as soon as the meeting is over, I will go ahead and do that, and I apologize for not doing that. I also did In the packet that we sent you with all the documents, that was also not included, and I just emailed it to you as well, Joe and Dee.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's, I have a motion on the table to open public comment. Do I hear a second?
Second,
Okay, second. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are going to open public comment. I can go around the room. We are trying to whip through this meeting because we have to go into executive session no later than 10 o'clock to sign. So if you please state your name, address, and what's on your public comment plate, and we will go from there. I saw Mrs. Orga, your hand came up first. Do you want to go first?
Yes, and I'll be very quick.
Okay.
For me, I just I was concerned after last week. We had a comment that we thought it would probably, from your end, that you thought it probably would be 5 years before you could complete this assessment process, and in 2 weeks we're supposed to vote on something that I don't think we can afford the way things are, knowing that it is not equitably applied. I've indicated sections on commercial, precinct 5. You have houses that have sold for twice what they are. So that's a comment that I have that I'm concerned about, which is the basis for coming to these meetings. And then secondly, we didn't get the TIFs, but I do have a question because I think that this should be perfectly open and public knowledge. If people are getting these section 1031, the where you save capital gains, I saw that your inspector went out a week before the assessment was lowered on 173 Main Street, and I guess I would like that said in a public meeting. If we are reducing assessments in half to accommodate somebody and their capital gains needs, which is great. I understand it. I don't mind that people are finding a way to do that, but the entire town should be aware of that. And if you know the answer and you care to comment, I'd appreciate it, but that's the end of my comments.
I can just make one quick comment. I know nothing about any deadlines for capital gains. I don't know nothing about that. Assessments have nothing to do with that. So I guess it probably was just a coincidence, but that has nothing to do with our office, and there's nothing that we do with that. So I hope that that's known. I mean, we're here to assess property. That's what we do.
Okay, that's fine. I think what we're trying to do is just have folks give their comments and then we can process it. So, but I understand, Kim, your eagerness to comment on that. Let's go around. Jean Wall, is there any comment you'd like to make at this time?
No comment.
No, okay. Councillor Forgy, is there anything you'd like to comment at this time?
No, I'm just watching the meeting. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Thanks for joining us. Okay, great. So let's keep public comment open at this time, and let's move on to some new and old business. I see we have commercial assessments. Kim, do you want to go right down in order, or some of these items might not be applicable to today's meeting?
I think the commercial assessments actually was part of the TIFs, which is listed at the bottom. We can just briefly talk about those since the commercial assessments got listed first. So if you look at the list of TIFs that I gave you, and I will send that, I promised, this afternoon or this morning to Ways and Means, and I do apologize again about that. Specifically, we were talking about the Argo Tech property, and there was another TIF that was in place with that property starting in 2015. So that's where the Argo Tech TIF came from. It looks like it is a TIF that goes until 2024 on 53 Silvio Conte Drive, 49 Greenfield Street, and 64 Adams Road. So that was approved prior to the fiscal year of 2015 by the TIF committee at that time, and the mayor's office at that time. So it looks like it is a 25% reduction on the real estate and 100% on the personal property for all of those.
Is that for the full 10 years? Looks like.
It's for 2015 through 2024.
Okay.
Wow.
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 Yeah.
Okay, good.
Go ahead, Christine.
So I have a couple of questions. That is an extraordinarily long period of time for a TIF.
Yeah, I
Um,
think that has changed over time. I don't mean to cut you off. I just want to answer that quickly. In the past, I think TIFs generally were like 10 to 20 years.
Yeah.
Nowadays, they tend to go between like 5 to 10. Generally, they usually settle on about 7 years for the TIFs.
um,
It
comment,
looks like all of ours are 10 years. I mean, when you look at the history,
yeah, I know.
I don't love it either, but
Yeah, no, I'm not loving, first of all, I'm not loving it either because my experience was always that the TIF was given to help business in a startup capacity and not in sort of an ongoing maintenance capacity. So can I ask the question as to why this TIF continues? Because and so the TIF was awarded back in another administration. So my
we don't have the
question
date in there.
would be why these first of all, the percentage 100% on personal property, that's huge, number one, if I heard that correctly.
Yes.
And number two, it's more or less like Dee said, it's more or less a 5 to 10 year process to get the business established. What has Argo Tech provided or promised to provide in order for us to receive, or for them to receive such a large consideration with this TIF? Because there are certain parameters that have to be met. You have to provide so many new jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Once you meet that criteria, I don't understand why your TIF needs to continue that in that long a period of time. Second piece I have here is, can the city actually review this TIF and either renegotiate it or pull it back, which I know from, if people fail to perform on their TIFs, we can pull back those TIFs. I know that from my own personal experience, having written TIFs. So have they, in fact, done what they said they were going to do? And when they met that criteria, can anybody tell me what date that was when they met the criteria?
Unfortunately, I'm not the person that has all that information. That would be MJ in the grants, the community development. She has been sort of heading the TIFs, it seems as though. And unfortunately, this TIF was created almost before, well, probably before I even worked for this city. So unfortunately, I don't know the answer to those questions, and I apologize for that.
No,
but it's something that we can look into when we're looking into our
ahead, Dee.
TIFs. It's not.
I agree that,
just-
I think these 10-year TIFs are too long, and so it seems as though they're pulling the assessors back into the process, which should be the case. The assessors should be involved.
Yes.
And I do agree with you that, TIFs are supposed to be to help a business get started and bring jobs to Greenfield. And they should not continue on year after year after year. And I also agree about personal property 100%. 100% on anything.
Yeah.
in my opinion, is not really okay. But
Right.
I don't have the final say, so I can state my opinion when it comes time. But again, I don't have the final say in that. So certainly, I think that there's a new TIF committee. I think there's just totally new hands involved all around. So hopefully, these TIFs won't continue on the way they have been.
May I respond? Um, is it a possibility that on your next assessors meeting, you invite MJ Adams to talk with us about this TIF process and the collaboration between the TIF committee and the assessors department? These things were so difficult. TIFs were I don't want to say the word stingy, but we were so mindful of the fact that we would be giving away tax revenue, collection of tax revenue that the municipality depends upon. And we wanted to make it equitable so that we do exactly what you said, Kim, which was to establish new business and bring new jobs to Greenfield without compromising the taxpayer. And this seems to me to be all out of proportions. And I'd really love to have MJ in a public forum discuss TIFs and help us to understand not only this one, but all the other ones. I think that would be just an outstanding thing for us to do at this point, get a handle on these, because not that I'm against business, I'm not, especially industrial business. I just can't believe this. I cannot believe the scope of this TIF. I just can't.
I think that's fine. I think I can reach out to her and ask. I don't know that she'll necessarily be able to come to the next meeting, but I can ask her, these are our next few meetings that we have scheduled. Could you come to any of these? And obviously it will be on the agenda so you can see, that she would be attending. So, and if we have a meeting in between and I know she's coming, I can certainly let you know if you're there.
Okay, that's excellent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So while we're on the TIF discussion, just to help myself understand this, understand there is a TIF committee that has recently been formed. I believe Mr. Zorger is on it, Councilor Zorger, and others. I wonder if somebody from our assessor's office should be on it or could be on it.
No,
I guess it's my first. No, could or should or could not.
you can't.
Could not. Okay, that's good to know. Yes. So I guess a lot of these.
Though, Joe, on that note, I don't mean to cut you off.
Oh, go ahead.
The assessors should be involved with the process. So not on the TIF committee, but involved in the meetings. And I think that started to happen before COVID. Unfortunately, I have to say that awful word again. But I think it is intended to continue. MJ and I did sit down a couple weeks ago just to make sure that we were on the same page with the TIFs, that we had all the same ones. She's getting the paperwork that they are complying or not. So if somebody's not complying, she would let me know right away so that I can not apply their TIF to their property. But I think in regards to actually creating TIFs, it is headed back in the right direction where the assessors are involved in the process. Okay.
And Councilor Forgy, let me just say my one thought on even going here with this discussion is I feel like as a board of assessors, in a lot of ways, I just feel like our group is being handed these TIFs and saying, here you go. I think the discussion that has started just now is excellent. I just wonder if our board is the board to analyze this if we're not even allowed to be on the TIF committee. And as I look at this chart, and everybody else will see it. Even this Argotech, there's nothing filled in as to how many jobs they're supposed to create. I mean, there's a lot of blanks, and so I guess I would love to see this be more accurate.
I also just want to comment on that very quickly as well. This chart that I have sent out to you is my chart. I was
Okay.
only just told that we have these. I haven't looked at any of the paperwork, so that's
Okay.
why it's blanks.
Okay,
So
so there
this
there
chart
could be
is
more
just,
information in the committee.
yeah, this chart is strictly just for me to know who has TIFs at this point and what I need to apply to their taxes. And then there's conversation with that. So I don't
That's-
want there to be, speculation that there's not the information. It's just specifically not on my spreadsheet.
Right, okay, Counselor Forgy, you had a comment?
I did. So I understand, and you're absolutely right, Joe, that this is an administrative function. And Kim, I get why assessors can't be involved in the awarding of a TIF. I get that. But once a TIF is awarded, if anybody knows this answer, so I'm throwing it open here. Once a TIF is awarded, who is responsible for making sure that the terms of the TIF that the business is in compliance with the terms of the TIF?
I do. Go ahead, Jenny, if you want to answer since you're on the TIF committee.
I believe that's MJ Adams, and I just want to be clear, there is a TIF committee which has met one time for a half an hour since January. Due to COVID, we have not, and this has been a whole year that they've continued.
And also, I can add on to that as well. Depending on the type of TIF, which I'm not super familiar with this information, and I think that MJ will probably give us better information, but if the TIF is registered with the state of Massachusetts, the state of Massachusetts is also checking in to see that, the business is complying to match up with everything that they said they would. But as well as in some towns, the assessor is 100% responsible for all of that. So I think it sort of depends. I mean, specifically in Greenfield, it's always been that the person who is in MJ's position has been keeping track of those things. I think way back when, well before my time, I was probably a little child, the assessor actually kept track of those things, and then it sort of just got pulled away as time went on.
Interesting.
But I think, I don't know that I don't really know enough about the process to say where I think it should be, but at the moment, I think those are the answers that will help you with your question there.
Can I just, Jenny, besides yourself, are there any, well, how do I phrase this? You were on the TIF committee before you became a counselor, is that correct?
No,
You're representative. Okay,
after I became a counselor. Tim Dolan and myself are on it.
thank you.
So, okay, so I'm open to inviting MJ to our meeting and asking her questions on behalf of the Board of Assessors, almost as a reactionary. And if that helps trigger the TIF committee to get together again and help analyze things, fantastic. I think it seems like a nice way of all working together here to tighten up something that was what it was, and we got to figure out what it is now, and then obviously by using that information, we'll figure out where we're going from here. So okay, great. Do we have any pro forma taxes, excise commitments, or excise weeks to discuss?
Yes, we have one excise week. You will see in the packet that we sent you, it is 11/17 through 11/30. Again, just general abatements. People have sold their cars, transferred their plates, traded their vehicles. Nothing funky on those.
Okay. Okay. So I'll make a motion to accept the motor excise vehicles for the dates. Can you read the dates off for me?
11/17 through 11/30, 2020.
30.
And these are 2020 excise abatements with calendar year 2020.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, I hear a second motion on the table. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Okay, going forward, the excise commitments. So we have commitment number 6 from the Registry of Motor Vehicles in the amount of $33,683.41. You will see a warrant to the collector, a commitment to the accounting office, and on the very back page, you will see that there were 571 vehicles in the total of the 33,683.41. And so we ask that you approve that as prepared.
Bear with me 1 second, just.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it up too.
Which was the date of that one, Kim? I'm sorry, and I had most things open except that. I apologize there.
That one is, I prepared it on November 18th. At the very top of the page, it says assessor's warrant to collector, motor excise 6 of 2020.
And it came in a big bundle?
Yep.
Okay. There they are. Sorry, guys.
It's all right. It's the good old days when we could all pass paper around the table.
That's not it. Oh, bear with me. Any documents? No. Not see that one. I'm sure it's here.
Is there a way to send it quickly, Kim, or no?
No.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's
On the 18th, I have everything. I just can come back to it if you want, and I can find it as you're talking.
Okay, well, I can just tell you about the next one then. The next one is also an excise commitment. It is commitment number 601. These were just add-on from other towns that got bills in error. There were 4 of them in the amount of $113.55. Again, you'll see the warrant to the collector, the commitment to the accounting officer, and the very back page is from Munis, showing that there were 4 bills for a total of $113.55 in tax.
What was that number?
601.
do you remember when? Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept excise commitment number 601.
Okay. I'll second the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries.
And what about excise commitment number 6?
I'll make a motion that we accept the warrant to abate excise commitment 6 of 2020.
No, it's not an abatement. It's a commitment to the collector's office.
Okay, sorry. So I'll make a motion that we approve the warrant to commit
Second.
amount of $53,683.41.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Okay, and then lastly is the pro forma tax for a property on Picket Lane. This was bought in auction, and the person has come in and paid the taxes in the amount of $140.74. You will see the top page is the commitment, the warrant to the collector. Second page is the commitment to accounting. And then the back couple of pages are the printout from Munis showing that the amount of $140.74 was billed. And the very last page is the settlement statement from the collector's office giving us the amount to bill.
I don't remember seeing that in my email.
It was in the packet.
That you sent this morning?
Nope, that was sent to you 2 days ago.
Okay, let me look it up. So you sent it on,
It came from Sandra.
okay.
That's why it's not showing up here.
So it came on a Tuesday?
Probably.
Okay,
I don't have anything from Sam.
Is there a way to resend that?
You guys really need to print these out ahead of time because we're spending a lot of time searching for these. I don't mean to be rude, but we've been doing this for a while, so we need to get this straightened out.
Yes, I don't, neither D or I can find the email, Kim.
I'm looking for it as well. To pull it up, and you said it's from Sandra.
Yeah. So I think
Let me sort by date here again.
I searched out her name. It's August. Last one I got was August. I'll search my junk file. Nothing in my junk file. I'll search my trash file.
Okay, well, she's going to send it to you. So in the meantime, there was also an email sent to us by Councillor DeSorger with concerns about 155 Main Street, 173, and 173 Main Street. Again, these are properties that have already been brought to our attention that, and I'm sorry, and the Argotech buildings as well, 53 Silvio Conte, 64 Adams Road, and 38 and 49 Greenfield Road. And so these were properties that were already brought to our attention to be looked at. And they are on the list, but right now it's just, we're trying to get the tax rate set, trying to get the taxes done. So, we will take a look at these properties, but, I just can't get to them right this second.
Okay. Sounds good. Any other business update with the assessor's office or RRG at this point?
Yeah, we can do that. I see Christine has her hand up.
Okay.
Thank you. On the property on that was sold at auction on Picket Lane, is there a name of a buyer?
I don't have it on my paperwork. Let me just look. Yes. Ryan Wadsworth.
Is that, do you know if that's a Greenfield resident?
I don't.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I can go ahead with the update on the assessors and RRG. So we have submitted all of our paperwork to the DOR for approval on our tax rate and our values, and we're just waiting to hear back from them. The accounting office has submitted everything that they need to do as well, so we're just sort of waiting on the state. Hopefully it will be done sooner rather than later, but I can imagine that everybody is sort of in the same boat. Liz, our accounting officer, was speaking to her representative that helps with the accounting side of things from the state. And she said that no one has really submitted their stuff yet. So I think everybody's sort of going to shuffle in all at once. And I think it has to do with the state being a little behind on some of their things. I know the cherry sheets had changed multiple times on the state side of things because of COVID and all the extra money that they've had to spend. Everything revolving around that. So anyway, so that is complete on our side. We're just waiting to hear back from them. In the meantime, we have ATB cases, the Appellate Tax Board, where residents have applied for an overvaluation and disagree with our decision. So we do have some of those cases on Friday. So the preparation for that has been happening all week as well as last week. And I've been working very hard to get our file to match from Patriot to Munis. And last night at 5:45, I found the issue. We have 4 properties that are causing our total real estate value to be off by $20,850. I was hoping it would be as easy as one property and it was easy to find. Unfortunately, it wasn't, but I found it. There's 4 properties. For some reason, I didn't look exactly as to which direction the value is wrong, but I found it. So today, my goal is to get those fixed and rerun the file. If that happens, it's a very, very, very good possibility that our taxes our LA4s will match for the very first time since we've gotten Munis. So I'm really, really, really excited about that. So I have been working again really hard on that, tons and tons of spreadsheets. My eyes feel like they're going to pop out of my head. And so that's really been consuming a lot of the time in the assessor's office. Sandra's been working again on deeds, 3 ABCs, excise tax. We're trying really hard to get all the deeds entered as fast as possible, as soon as we get them, so that the proper owners can get their tax bills timely. Usually we do try to do that just because it causes less frustration for the taxpayer, which has purchased a new home, but also it helps us with not having to send out the bills twice. So it's a cost saving thing as well, because we don't have to pay for the envelope twice. And then also she's going to be working on the income and expense mailing, as well as the personal property form of list. So all that stuff is coming up in the next week. We need to get those mailed out by the beginning of the calendar year. And again, that is something that we don't have to mail out. We mail them out as a courtesy. We have changed the way we do that a little bit since I've been in the assessor's office, because we used to send out a form for you to fill out. For example, with the income and expense, we would send you the letter explaining what it was, send you the income and expense form to fill out. If you don't turn it in, we would send you a reminder with all that same information. And we're not doing that anymore, because it's a waste of time, it's a waste of paper, it's a waste of stamps. So what we do is we send out a postcard reminder, and that goes along for, form of list, that goes for income and expense, that goes for 3 ABC, all those things that are due March 1st. We send out a postcard reminder. And then at that point, if you don't fill out that stuff, well, then you get fined. We're not going to chase you. If you don't want to fill that out, that's fine, but we're not going to chase you. So we give a fair and equitable, reasonable amount of time to do that. Generally, I do extend the deadline a little bit, just because people don't get their taxes done until April, usually, if they are, last minute. Sometimes businesses that's just the way it goes. So I always try to extend that time period a little bit, but I always tell people, if you're not going to get it into me, please put it in writing and let me know that you're working on it. I will give you until April 1st, but otherwise you're getting a fine. So that's basically what we've been working on at the moment. But again, I just want to stress that hopefully our tax bills will be mailed out early, so that people can have extra time to prepare for that first bill due in February. And hopefully for the first time since we've had Munis, our files will match exactly. And
Okay.
I just want to note that when there is a discrepancy on the LA4, so that, meaning that the values of the properties that are in Patriot, when they carry over into Munis, if they don't match for some reason by a small margin, the state it really just assumes that it's rounding. In some cases, that is the case. If it's, a couple of $100, it could very well be that Munis is rounding where Patriot doesn't. But if we can get spot on, I mean, that's huge, and that's really where I'd rather be than worry about rounding numbers. At this moment, I figured out which 4 properties are the problem, so I can go in and edit them in Munis if I have to. I'd really rather not do that, so I'm going to try to do some research to see what's going on with those. But, I was in the mindset of, for a little while, $20,000 in assessment wise is about $500 in tax wise. If worst comes to worst, I'm not going to hold up the tax bills for everyone for $500. But I'm really, really, really excited to have found those, so we don't have to worry about that.
Okay,
That's
good.
promising. That's good.
Okay, so moving on, I'm printing out the Picket Lane document right now. Dee, do you have that up as well?
I will go grab it. I should have it.
Yeah.
Bear with me. Back to shrinking. I don't want to lose you. Picket Lane, what's the date? It's so
Okay,
many
this was
notes on the bottom.
If you see your email, D, from this morning at 9:41 is the Picket Lane one.
940.
Okay, so it's a real estate tax pro forma for parcel for parcel R 23-59A. It's in the amount of $140.47 for a property off of Picket Lane. I believe it's landlocked.
There we go. Gotcha.
It was purchased at auction for $11,245.74. And we are asking the collector to commit the $140.74. I'll make a motion on the table that we approve that.
I'll second.
Second on the table. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, that motion carries. Good. Okay, any other public comments at this time before we close the public comment section of the agenda here? None. I'm seeing none. Okay, with that, I'll make a motion to close public comment.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Second. Okay, motion on the table. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And we will be going into executive session to discuss exemptions and folks' personal finances. So thank you all for joining us. After we go to vote, Dee, are you planning on going to town hall? Would you like to be on speakerphone?
Based on next week's, what my schedule looks like, and what I have to do, I think I'll probably do the calling.
Okay.
I want to come in. Like, I want to come in. So bad, but
It's okay.
Councilor Forgy, did you want to thank us for?
I just want to say to Dee, I want to say hello, and I'm glad to see you at these meetings. Love you, kid.